Have you ever stood in your kitchen holding an egg in the palm of your hand and felt a quiet, simple confidence that you were making a healthy choice for your body? For generations, this has been a universal experience. We have all been taught through family wisdom, public health campaigns, and the sheer intuitive appeal of the food itself that eggs are nature's perfect little packages. Self-contained marvels brimming with high-quality protein, a rich array of essential vitamins, and the kind of brain-boosting fats that our neurological pathways crave. They are the cornerstone of a hearty breakfast, a quick solution for a light lunch, and a reliable building block for countless recipes. But what if there is a hidden, more complex truth that most people, and especially those of us navigating the unique health landscape over the age of 60, are never fully told? What if the seemingly insignificant habits surrounding how you cook, what you pair with, and even where you store this simple everyday food could be silently and systematically undermining your health, contributing insidiously to the very chronic issues you are so diligently trying to prevent? Imagine the profound and unsettling discovery that your daily egg routine, the very ritual you thought was supporting your strength, sharpening your mind, and sustaining your vitality, could actually be a secret and persistent source of nagging joint pain, pervasive brain fog, stubbornly high cholesterol, and that frustrating, flagging energy that clips the wings of your golden years. The problem, it is crucial to understand, is almost never the egg itself. In its pure, unadulterated form, it remains a nutritional powerhouse. The real issue lies in the common, deeply ingrained, and seemingly harmless mistakes we make every single day, mistakes passed down through tradition and reinforced by convenience. Stay with me on this journey of discovery, because unveiling these common errors is not just about a lecture on food science. It is about reclaiming the full potential of your well-being, one delicious, correctly prepared, and truly nourishing breakfast at a time. It is about transforming a simple meal from a potential liability into a powerful asset for a long, vibrant, and healthy life. Force the hidden dangers sizzling in your pan. Let us begin our investigation at the very first step in preparing your morning meal. A moment of seemingly minor decision that can fundamentally determine whether your breakfast ultimately heals your body or actively harms it. The most prevalent and damaging mistake often happens before the delicate white and yolk of the egg even touch the surface of the pan. For decades, a pervasive narrative in nutrition and marketing has steered us to reach for common cooking oils like generic vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, or those incredibly convenient non-stick cooking sprays. They seem light, they are marketed as heart, healthy, and their affordability makes them a staple in kitchens across the country. However, these oils carry a deeply inflammatory secret that is rarely discussed on their labels. These highly processed seed oils are overwhelmingly and unnaturally high in a specific type of polyunsaturated fat known as omega-6 fatty acids. While it is true that our bodies require a certain amount of omega-6 fatty acids to function, particularly for skin health and normal growth, the typical modern diet provides a staggering, almost unbelievable 15 to 20 times more than the evolutionarily appropriate amount we actually need. This creates a severe and chronic imbalance with the critically important anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids found in foods like fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is thought to be around 2:1 or even 1:1. In the modern Western diet, it is often closer to 20:1. You can think of this imbalance as constantly, day after day, adding small amounts of kindling and fuel to a low-grade smoldering fire inside your body. This state, known as chronic low-grade inflammation, doesn't necessarily manifest as the acute pain of a sprained ankle. It is a phantom menace, a systemic silent process that can stiffen the delicate endothelial lining of your arteries, disrupt your body's intricate ability to manage cholesterol and blood sugar, and put a tremendous exhaustive strain on your entire metabolic system, accelerating the aging process. At a cellular level, consider the story of Ruth, a vibrant and active 67-year-old who cherished her simple morning ritual of a single sunny-side-up egg. It was her moment of peace before a day spent in her beloved garden. For years, she had conscientiously used a popular vegetable oil blend, one whose label was adorned with hearts and claims of promoting cardiovascular wellness, truly believing she was making the best choice for her long-term health. Yet, despite her careful diet and active lifestyle, she found herself battling a frustrating collection of ailments. A persistent deep morning stiffness in her knees and fingers made her first hour of the day a painful ordeal. She suffered from near-constant bloating that left her feeling uncomfortable and heavy. And at her last physical, her doctor noted a concerning and inexplicable rise in her LDL cholesterol numbers, the so-called bad cholesterol. Her doctor, instead of immediately blaming the eggs, as so many might, wisely delved deeper, asking detailed questions about her cooking habits, her pantry staples, and her daily routines. The culprit, hiding in plain sight, was the oil she used every single morning. The daily influx of inflammatory omega-6 was undermining all her other healthy efforts. Ruth made a simple but profound switch. She began cooking her daily egg in a small amount of high-quality, cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, which is rich in monounsaturated fats and anti-inflammatory polyphenols. On weekends, as a treat, she used a teaspoon of ghee, a type of clarified butter revered in Ayurvedic medicine that is rich in healthy fats like butyrate and fats-soluble vitamins, and has a high smoke point. On some days when she wanted an even lighter meal, she poached her eggs using no oil at all, letting the water do the work. The transformation was not instantaneous, but it was remarkable. Within a few weeks, her chronic bloating vanished. Over a couple of months, the gnawing ache in her knees subsided, allowing her to kneel in her garden without a second thought. Her breakfast remained a source of joy and ritual, but now it was a source of healing, not harm. The pan you use is a powerful tool, and the medium you choose to heat within it can either be a cornerstone that builds you up or a corrosive agent that slowly breaks you down. Shinatra, the classic breakfast pairing that backfires. Now, let us turn our attention from the pan to the plate and examine what you place next to your perfectly cooked eggs. There is perhaps no more iconic, more deeply ingrained American breakfast combination than eggs served with a side of crispy bacon or sizzling sausage links. It is a pairing steeped in tradition, comfort, and a sense of satisfying completeness. For millions, it is the smell of Saturday mornings, the taste of a diner breakfast, the go-to meal that feels both substantial and wonderfully simple. However, this classic beloved pairing is precisely where the profound and multi-faceted health benefits of a humble egg can be completely and utterly undone, creating a nutritional battlefield on your plate. Processed meats, a category that includes not only bacon and sausage, but also ham, hot dogs, deli slices, and jerky, are essentially a Trojan horse of harmful and inflammatory compounds deliberately engineered for flavor and preservation at the expense of your health. They are intentionally loaded with exorbitant amounts of sodium, a primary driver of high blood pressure, which places immense strain on the heart and kidneys, a risk that becomes significantly more pronounced as we age. Furthermore, they contain chemical preservatives, most notably nitrates and nitrites, which are added to maintain color and prevent bacterial growth. When these compounds are exposed to high heat in the presence of amino acids, which are abundant in both the meat and the eggs, they can form potent carcinogenic compounds called nitrosamines. In fact, the evidence is so overwhelming that the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer has officially classified all processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen, placing it in the very same category of certainty for causing cancer as tobacco smoke, asbestos, and alcohol. When you pair a nutrient-dense, heart-friendly, anti-inflammatory food like a properly cooked egg with a highly inflammatory, oxidative, carcinogenic food like processed meat, you create a profound nutritional conflict right on your breakfast plate. The beneficial compounds in the egg are forced to contend with an onslaught of harmful ones from the meat, effectively neutralizing and in many cases completely overwhelming any potential good. Let us meet Henry, a 70-year-old retired firefighter who had been diligently managing his type 2 diabetes for over a decade. For him, breakfast was a non-negotiable, predictable routine: 2 scrambled eggs, 2 pan-fried sausage links, and a mug of black coffee. He believed this high-protein, low-carbohydrate meal was the perfect strategy for keeping his blood sugar stable. But lately, he had been struggling with a new and unsettling constellation of symptoms. He experienced a persistent and distracting tingling, almost a pins and needles sensation in his feet and hands. A profound heaviness settled in his legs by midday, and a wave of deep, bone-wearying fatigue would hit him by noon, leaving him with no energy for the rest of the day. A thorough review of his health markers with his endocrinologist revealed the early but clear stages of diabetic neuropathy, nerve inflammation and damage, and a significant progression of plaque buildup in his arteries. The likely trigger, the daily aggressor, was not the eggs or the coffee, but the daily dose of inflammatory compounds, advanced glycation end products, ages, and nitrates from his pan-fried sausages. Henry did not have to give up his beloved eggs. He just needed to liberate them from their unhealthy and destructive companions. He began to explore new pairings. He started serving his eggs with half a sliced avocado, providing creamy texture, healthy monounsaturated fats, and fiber. He would wilt a large handful of spinach with garlic to serve alongside, boosting his intake of vitamins, minerals, and nitrates of a different kind, the beneficial vessel-dilating kind found in leafy greens. Some mornings he enjoyed his eggs with grilled tomatoes seasoned with oregano, a fantastic source of the powerful antioxidant lycopene. The change was profound and deeply empowering. The tingling in his feet noticeably improved. His afternoon energy returned with vigor, and his latest blood work showed a stabilization of his arterial plaque. He felt more in control of his health and his diabetes than he had in years, all by changing what sat next to his eggs. The surprising risk of a repetitive routine. This next common mistake is perhaps the most surprising and insidious of all, because it feels so completely counterintuitive to our modern quest for efficiency and simplicity. It is not about adding something overtly bad to your plate, but rather about the persistent and subtle absence of something critically good: nutritional variety. Eating eggs prepared in the exact same way day in and day out can feel like a smart, effective, and disciplined strategy for managing your diet. It is easy, it is predictable, it removes the mental burden of decision, and it is wonderfully affordable for your body. However, this relentless monotony can slowly and silently create significant nutritional deficiencies and dangerous imbalances that can take months or even years to manifest as clear symptoms. When your breakfast exclusively consists of, for example, 2 scrambled eggs on a slice of buttered white toast, your body begins to miss out on an entire spectrum of other essential nutrients that are simply not present in that limited meal. A diet that is consistently high in the rich nutrients of egg yolks without a sufficient intake of dietary fiber from other sources can make it much more difficult for your body to manage and excrete cholesterol effectively, potentially leading to the very issue many people fear from eggs. In the first place, more importantly, this rigid routine crowds out the opportunity to consume other essential health-promoting foods. You miss out on the potent cell-protecting antioxidants found in berries, the crucial gut-healthy prebiotic fiber from greens and legumes, the diverse and powerful phytonutrients that give a colorful plate of vegetables its disease-fighting power, and the wide array of minerals found in nuts and seeds. Over time, this lack of dietary diversity can lead to a less resilient, less robust physiological state. Consider Gloria, a sharp-witted 72-year-old who prided herself on her mental acuity and loved the daily challenge of her morning crossword puzzles. She was, by her own admission, a creature of habit, and this extended to her breakfast, which was always without fail the same: 2 scrambled eggs cooked until well done, served on a single slice of buttered white toast. No fruit, no vegetables, no variation whatsoever. It was the breakfast she had eaten for years, and she saw no reason to change it. Over the course of several months, however, she started feeling undeniably sluggish. A mental fog began to cloud her beloved crossword puzzles, and she found herself dealing with persistent constipation for the first time in her life. Most concerningly, her routine blood work showed that her cholesterol numbers, which had been stable for years, were beginning to creep up for no apparent reason. More detailed blood analysis revealed that she was borderline deficient in several key nutrients, including folate and certain antioxidants, which are abundant in colorful plant foods, but not in her monotonous breakfast. The eggs were not the problem. The unyielding nutrient-poor routine built around them was. Gloria, initially resistant to change, decided to make a concerted effort to diversify her morning meal. She kept the eggs as her protein-rich foundation, but started rotating her preparations and accompaniment with intention. Some mornings, she would have 2 soft-boiled eggs with a side of mixed berries and a generous sprinkle of chia seeds for fiber and omega-3s. On other days, she would make a vibrant 3-egg omelet packed with sautéed spinach, diced tomatoes, and mushrooms. She even started baking mini egg muffins on the weekend, filled with finely chopped bell peppers and onions, so she had a quick vegetable-packed option on hand for busy mornings. Within a few short weeks, her digestion was back on a regular healthy track. Her energy levels soared, the mental fog lifted, and her breakfast transformed from a boring necessity into an exciting, nourishing, and colorful part of her day again. A simple fridge habit with serious consequences. Finally, let us discuss a critical mistake that happens long before you even think about cracking an egg for breakfast, one that takes place silently, out of sight, within the confines of your refrigerator. Most of us give little to no thought to where we store our eggs, often transferring them from their cardboard carton to the convenient little molded plastic tray built into the refrigerator door. It seems logical. It is what the tray is designed for. However, for older adults who may have a naturally more sensitive digestive tract and a less robust immune system, this simple common habit can have surprisingly significant and even serious health consequences. An eggshell, contrary to its solid appearance, is a porous structure covered in thousands of microscopic pores that allow for the exchange of gases. This porosity also means it can readily absorb odors, moisture, and most importantly bacteria from its immediate environment. The refrigerator door is by a wide margin the warmest part of the entire appliance. It is subject to constant and often dramatic temperature fluctuations every single time you open it to grab the milk or a snack. This inconsistent warmer environment creates an ideal breeding ground for the proliferation of harmful bacteria, most notably Salmonella, a bacterium that is a common cause of food-borne illness and can be present on the exterior of eggshells. For a healthy young person, a mild case of salmonellosis might be an unpleasant but brief affair. For someone over 60, it can be a much more serious health event. Let's look at the case of George, a proudly independent 74-year-old widower who took great pride in managing his own home and cooking all of his own meals. He recently went through a miserable few days of severe stomach cramps, persistent nausea, and waves of feverish chills. He initially brushed it off as a simple stomach bug he must have picked up somewhere. But when the symptoms lingered and left him feeling weak and dehydrated, his doctor began asking very detailed questions about his recent meals and food handling practices. It turned out that just before getting sick, George had made himself a delicious 3-egg vegetable omelet. The eggs he used were stored, as always, in the little tray on his refrigerator door. To make matters potentially worse, he recalled that he had left the entire egg carton sitting on his kitchen counter for a couple of hours the day before while he was busy unloading groceries and tidying up. That prolonged exposure to room temperature, followed by storage in the warmest part of the fridge, was all it took for any existing bacteria to multiply to a level that could cause a significant infection in his more vulnerable system. His doctor's advice was simple but absolutely crucial. Always store eggs in their original cardboard carton, as this protects them from absorbing odors and from physical damage. Place that carton on a main shelf, preferably towards the back, which is the coldest and most temperature-stable part of the fridge. Never leave eggs out at room temperature for more than 2 hours, and always pay attention to the best-by date printed on the carton. George implemented these small, simple changes to his routine immediately, and his mysterious and debilitating stomach troubles never returned. It is a tiny habit, a minor adjustment in a daily routine, but it can make all the difference between a safe, nourishing meal and a serious, preventable illness. By respecting the integrity of the egg from the moment you bring it home from the store to the moment it lands on your plate, you ensure that it remains the wonderfully nourishing, life-sustaining food it is truly meant to be.